Hello everyone and welcome to today's class on colour and shapes. Today we are going to be using our watercolour paints and our cardboard rolls to create an abstract artwork from our imagination that's guided by colour and colour mixing. So let's get started. First thing that we're going to do is gather our materials. We're going to use a white watercolour card, a ruler, pencil and a rubber just in case you need to rub anything out. We're also going to use a cardboard roll, one of my favourite materials to use for arts and crafts. It's very handy. For this artwork, we are going to create abstract shape based on a series of circles, half circles and lines. The very first thing that I want you to do is to draw a circle towards the top and center of your page. The reason we're doing this is we're just giving ourselves a starting point. So I'm just coloring that in, make sure it's a full circle, okay? For every shape that you create, we want to divide that shape into two. So we want every shape to have two parts, okay? That's what you need to remember. And I'll repeat this again, but every shape has two parts. So for this one, I might do it like a little circle going here. So that's going to be our two parts. Okay, now we're going to do a series of these shapes throughout the artwork. This is one that I have half finished, so you can see two parts of it. But as you can see here, you can do different types. So you don't have to use a circle all the time. It can be half circles, moon shapes. So we're going to go through different shapes that you can do. But to make all your shapes, I want you to use your circle. Okay, so I'm going to do maybe another circle down here. They don't have to be perfect circles. My toilet roll wants to kind of curve around, so I'm going to do that, and then I'm going to use it to create a little half circle within it. Okay, I'm going to do another one. What I'm going to do now is I think I'm going to cut this in half. Okay, then I'm going to cut my toilet roll in half, so I have a curved shape that I can also use. Now I'm just checking that that is even. Sometimes they get a little bit battered, so if you need to make this a flat surface to work on, perfect. Okay, so I'm just gonna use the inside of this now. Maybe we might get a better circle on it. It's circle enough. And then I'm gonna use this curve so I can bend the curve. See how I can bend the curve, change the shape, and get another circle there. Now we're going to join these all together in a minute, but for the minute what I'm just concentrating on is creating some of these half circles and circle shapes. There we go. So that I might finish that off with a line in a little minute. So I'm just going to go down here. So the other thing that I want you to remember is to leave gaps between each shape, okay? So don't have them all clustered together, spread them out around the page. Now what I'm going to do is, so I've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, okay? So I think I'm going to start to create like a shape for them to all sit within, all right? We're going to use our ruler for this, so we're going to join straight lines, all right? So think of it like we're creating sort of a box shape for them, but might not be perfectly, won't be perfectly rectangle, but we're joining them all so they all look like they're part of the same family. So I'm gonna have, now I could do this as a straight line. I want my line to go through this circle, so I'm just gonna go down here. Now I know I've got like, this is a half circle shape, so I think this one I'm gonna finish off in a straight line. And then to divide this in two, I'm gonna use that line there. So I've got my shape, and my shape is divided in two. Okay, that's the rule I want you to remember. I've got my shape, and my shape's divided into two parts. Now for here, I think I'm going to go down a little bit maybe. It doesn't matter how you do this. We're just creating like a box, a border for them. Now I don't want it to go off the page. And again, I want to think about this shape here. So I think I'm going to join it up with that, like that. Again, this shape needs to have two parts. So I'm going to do a kind of a curved line here. So it's got two parts. And I want to add a little bit more to this. So I think I'm going to go up here again. And let me just have a look at this and see if I'm happy with that. This one needs to be in two parts. So I want to divide this inside space. I want to break that up as well, okay? don't want big spaces, we want smaller. So I'm gonna do a line around it. Again, I want to break this up, make that smaller. Okay, so that, like, imagine this is a ball and then this is the playing field for that ball. Okay, and this is a ball here and it's got a playing field. Break it up a little bit. Okay, so you can see here, see different playing fields. I'll explain why we're doing that in a minute. Okay, so I've got my shapes, and then outside, so these are all, this is all straight lines. I'm going to do wavy lines outside and break up the outside shape as well. Just going to do a couple of these, not too many. You can add more later if you need it. All right. So now the next step is color. All right. So this lesson, it's about shapes and lines. Okay. So how to create an artwork using abstract shapes. All right. So it's an artwork from our imagination. It doesn't represent anything that we have seen in reality, and that makes it abstract. All right. So that's the first step and lesson. Second part of this lesson, it's all about color mixing. All right. So it's letting color dictate the style of the drawing. You can start with whatever color you want. Okay. So pick a shape. I'm going to pick this first one here. And first thing that I'm going to do, I'm just going to get some cleaner water here, because I don't want the color to be too dark. So got your mixing palette, which I just have a plastic lid, and I'm going to pick my first color. So I'm going to pick green to start with. I'm going to do a little puddle of green here. Okay. And in my shape, I'm going to do 1/2 of it green. Okay. Again, it doesn't matter what color you pick for your first color. You'll need to do a little bit of thinking about your second color, but we'll do that in a second. Okay. Now, we are going to look at color mixing. So this color and this color, we are going to mix them together to make your third color that's going to go in the field around the ball. All right. So when I'm picking my second color, I want to think about what colors might go well with green. But also, the interesting sort of what I love about this project is picking a color that you're not sure of. So I'm going to pick this kind of like ochre yellow color, and it's a color on my palette that I actually wouldn't use a lot, and I'm going to experiment with mixing that with the green. So we're looking at color mixing. All right, I'm going there. Okay, and then I have that, so I have that color here, right? And then we're going to mix these two colors together to see what we're going to end up with. Just going to get a little bit more there. And it's actually a really interesting green color, almost like a limey green color. But if I wasn't playing the color mixing game, I wouldn't have thought to mix these two together. So it's understanding your colors, your color palette, and going a step further than just mixing the primaries and the secondary colors together. Right. The next color, so the next one I'm going to look at is the shape here. Now, you can start with a totally new color, or you can use this color you've mixed, okay, as one of your base colors. So I'm going to use the color that I've mixed. So it's my green and my ochre, and I'm going to put it here as my base color. So that's one of my colors, and then I'm going to pick, just making sure that that's getting a good amount. Okay, so that's my base color, and then I'm going to pick another color to mix with it. So it can't be the original two colors. I've got to pick something else. I'm going to pick blue. So I'm going to get a little bit of blue. Blue is quite dark. So immediately when I'm mixing the blue in with this color, I don't want too much blue on my brush, okay? Because the blue is darker, so you don't want it to dominate. Just put a tiny bit of blue just to mix through. Mix it on your palette. And I'm guessing I'm going to get a lovely sort of turquoise green color. And that's really lovely. So actually this color here that I'm painting out at the moment is actually a mix of 1, 2, 3 colors. But imagine if you were doing a drawing of a forest or plants and greenery, and you've got loads of different leaves, but you want all the leaves to stand out, okay? by doing different types of color mixing, you're getting different shades of green, okay? So it's going to make your drawing look more realistic. Now I'm going to skip to another different color base. Again, you could keep going. You could pick that color for your next one and you could move on and on. But I'm going to pick a different color for up here. So I'm going to go for, let's see what I've got here. I'm going to go for yellow up here. So as you're doing your color mixing, think about the overall drawing and what you want the overall drawing to look like. I'm going for sort of like muted green colors over here. I might do like a real pop of color over on the other side. So I've got my yellow, and then I'm going to look and think, right, what colors do I want to mix with the yellow? And I think I really liked how that ochre turned out. So I'm going to try just a little bit of brown on this one. Because I'm sort of liking this color palette here. So again, brown is quite strong. So when I mix it with my yellow, just going to get both of these in my color palette here. Okay. And I'm going to mix these together. I'm going to get sort of a mustard color, I think. Now, I don't have a field for this to play in, all right? So I'm going to create, so I've got this line here. I don't want to have too much space to fill in, so I'm just going to create like a line like that there. And then I'm going to fill in my sort of mustardy green color, which I can imagine this being a really good color for maybe like a forest field or green plants or something like that. So there I have. Okay. So now we're going to continue on with the rest of the painting. So every time you have a shape, right, I'm going to turn this around. Every time you have a shape, you think, where's it going to play? So this shape here, 2 colors, and then the mixed color I might put out here. This one here actually, so this one here doesn't have a shape in it yet. So 2 things you can do with this. One, you can mix these colors again in a different, maybe use more blue or more green, or you can create another shape here, which is what I'm going to do. Create another shape, and I'm going to do a straight line through it. And I'm actually going to use this sort of mustard green color. I'm just wiping my brush, and then what I want to go with it, I think I might bring it back to those green tones maybe. So I might go for, let me see, I might actually go for some blue. Let's try out some of that dark blue again. There. And then mix that in. Just put that out of the way. Mix that in there to see what kind of green we can get. Very similar to this, isn't it? So if I wanted to say, I'm looking going, that's quite similar, what could I do? I could put a little bit more blue in my mix. So I'm going to put a little bit more blue in the mix, just to make it a little bit darker. So you can see there with mixing, adding a bit more blue, right, gives you obviously a different color tone, right? These are all quite natural color tones. I'm gonna, and you can keep with that same pattern, I'm gonna add a little bit more of a brighter color. So I'm actually gonna use this. I'm gonna use this ochre again. I really liked using that the first time. I'm going to put a little bit of the ochre here. That, right? So that's my first color, the ochre. And I think I might go for this nice brown, warm brown tone here. Chocolate brown. Right? And then I'm going to mix these 2 together and see what I get. Guessing maybe a little bit more of this. Just put my water. Oops. Probably put a little bit too much brown on that now. I just want to make it a little bit lighter. Okay, and then I have a lovely creamy brown color. So like I say, you can pick your color tones, but the important thing is that each shape is divided into 2 parts and that you put a different color in each part and then you mix those together and paint them out in this bigger playing field space. So they're all connected. Right, now I like that. So I'm going to mix it up again. I'm going to go for like an orange tone up here. I'm going to do an orange here. It's actually quite browny. Orange there. Okay. So that's my orange. Actually, I just clean off my palette from that blue. I don't want it mixing in together. That's my orange. So before I mix my orange, I'm going to think about, right, so orange is a mix of reds and yellows. So I'm going to think about what colors I might want to mix in with it. Green has a yellow in it. So green has like a yellow and a blue in it. I'm going to try a little bit of green here mainly because I would never normally mix green and orange together. So I want to see what color I can get from it. Remember, it's all about trying to find as many different colors as you can within your artwork. But I'm going for these earthy tones. That's why I'm sticking to this pattern. So mixing my green, my orange together. Just gonna get a little bit more orange on it. Ooh, and I actually really like this color. Interesting. Put a little bit more green maybe. So again, I wouldn't really have thought of mixing green and orange, but look at this really cool olive green that I've got, which would be amazing for a leaf or tree color. So really like that color tone, and I definitely would not have thought of mixing those 2 colors together. Okay, now I want to make sure I've got lots of greens here, so I probably don't want to add a green here because I want this to pop out. But I don't want it to stand out too much from the overall drawing. I wanted to keep it on the same color tones. I'm going to go for a blue here, blue there. So I'm just going to put a blue down here. And I think I might go for a little bit of purple because purple has blue. In its base. I like that purple. So get some purple there, mix it in with my blue. Put a little bit of water on my brush to help spread it out. I probably need a bit more blue on it because I'm just looking and saying it's very similar in color. I just want it to show that difference. So mix until you get the mix right, and you can always just overlay. Follow the lines, okay? So follow the lines that you make. I'm actually looking at this sort of lavender, because blue and purple is lavender, and this green, and I'm sort of wondering, would they be an interesting mix together? Again, never thought about it. I have the lavender and that green on my space already, so I'm going to create another shape here. And actually, see the way this is half a circle? I'm going to use that shape to create. Let's just see if I can do it. Create like another circle on the other side. Curve it that way. So I'm going to start with some of this purpley shape here. All right. Wash my brush out. And then I'm going to get some of this green on the other side, which is my mix of my green and my orange. Now, I don't want to have too big a space to fill in. I think I'm going to just do a curved line like that, so it's not too big a space. Then mix that purple and green together. See what I'm going to get. Think about it. Green has blues in it anyway, blues and yellows, And that purple has the blues in it as well. So you're mixing colours that have a lot in common. Just be careful when you're going around filling the lines, but look at that, gorgeous. That's a lovely colour. Okay. Really like that. Okay. And there are a lot of famous artists that use colour as the inspiration for their artworks. And it's always really interesting to see how they use that colour. So I have a white space here, but I don't have a circle in it or a shape. So I'm just going to create a shape here. I think I might do it sort of coming out of this one. There we go. And do a little, let me see, oops, shape there. Okay, now, so again, just look at what colors you want and finish off your artwork. Keep going. Use purple. Again. I think I'm going to use this orangey base color here. Sort of like a brown ochre. Mix in a little bit of purple into it. Interesting. I'm going to fill this whole shape base with this. Now, okay. Oh. Yeah. Reach it. So I hope you've enjoyed that project on color mixing and creating an artwork that's guided by that color mixing. And hopefully what you've done is you've discovered some color combinations and mixes that you wouldn't have tried. And what you can see is that from a few base colors, you can create so many different color combinations, and you can create an artwork that's beautiful in its own right, while also being a study of color, which is one of the building blocks and essential skills of being an artist.